Welcome back to It's Life Loudly.
where life is messy, imperfect, and worth sharing.
We're Dalton and Kristen Steichen, and we are excited to share stories and our experiences.
Ones that might inspire, motivate, and hopefully make you laugh.
We are not experts on this thing called life.
We're just here chatting about it.
It's
life loudly.
Hey, it's Kristen. I'm just jumping on to tell you that you are about to listen to part 2 of last week's episode. So if you have not listened to part 1, make sure you go back and listen to part 1 before you listen to part 2. Here's the rest of the episode. Do you remember when they officially decided, okay, rights are being terminated, these kids are going to be adopted? I don't know if that was before me or after me.
I think that was all during. I think that was so much of that was at the same time. Because I remember
did you ever think hey, these kids need to go live at Dalton and Kristen's house? I don't even remember if I told anybody that we're in the adoption process right now. I don't even remember. I don't remember anything about that.
At one point I know that yes, I knew that you guys were we knew that you guys were looking at possibly adopting kids at some point, which is not surprising to me because I knew Dalton has siblings that are not his biological siblings, and that that's not foreign to your extended family unit. Yeah. So I was not at all surprised by that. I think it was 3 months before you guys said what do you think about us adopting the girls? 3 months before that, Eric and I were in our hot tub and we were talking about the girls, so I think at that point we knew that it was close to rights being terminated. Yeah. There was now no more chance. Actually, one parent's rights had willingly been terminated, and then the other it was just a matter of time till the clock ran out, basically. And so at that point we kind of knew okay, they're not going back anymore. But we still didn't know okay, what is that? Now it's going to be a whole new process of now there's going to be looking for a forever home pairing to happen. And this was our first rodeo in the whole foster care thing. So we didn't know anything. We were learning as we went. And I don't think any of those cases are really the same. So I don't think that they could just even tell us okay, this happens and then this happens and then this happens. So we knew at that around that point that the girls would eventually be adopted. And I remember we were sitting in our hot tub and Eric's like, Dalton and Kristen are going to adopt the girls. And I laughed. And I said, Kristen has seen way too much to adopt these girls because you had been in our house a lot. And,
guys, we used to hang out. That was back in the day when we had no kids. We would be at your house till 2 a.m. sometimes.
Yes, and we played games. Yes. It was just fabulous.
We'll have those times again.
Yes, those times will be back. And you saw lots of the raging storms.
Gosh. I saw lots of picking up sticks in the yard, and we were probably doing discipleship and stuff already at that point.
We were, yes.
Yes.
And so I'm like, Kristen, no, she has seen too much. She knows there's a lot of things that happen here that are not pretty. And so then you were not at our house, and I remember we're sitting in our living room, and then you were
I do remember that day. Yeah.
I don't even know if this is a possibility, but what if we would adopt the girls? And I remember Eric then laughed because he's like, see? And I was just, what? This is so ridiculous that you said that. And then I remember
I was so terrified because our social worker had prepared us as soon as you first of all, go back and listen to the first episode of the process of figuring out who you're going to adopt. It's not common at all. We were fish out of water. We were the only people that we knew that were adopting without having any foster care experience at all. Yes. Normally the people that are adopting through PATH is because they have kids in their home. And they're
we'll just adopt these kids.
We'll just adopt these kids that are currently in our home, that have been in our home. It is not a thing to be have no experience, nothing with these kids.
We don't want to be foster parents. We just want to adopt.
Yes. That's not. And they I don't know if they warned us, but they said hey, once we figure out who the kids are, just know it's a very bumpy road.
Mm-hmm.
That transition is a very bumpy road because a lot of times they're the foster parents know that like these aren't our, for whatever reason, because they already have kids of their own or because of their age or because of whatever, like these kids aren't going to be adopted to them, but they don't necessarily want them to leave either.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, just like be prepared for that. It's a very emotional thing because like even though they know that they're not going to adopt them, they don't necessarily want them to go either. And I was like, well, crap, like I'm like, I can't. I'm like, what if they hate us? Like, what if they're like, no, it's going to be way too hard to like see them all the time and to like, because like we don't really want them to go, but we want them. I was just like, Dom, I can't talk to them about that. I was like, I don't know. I was so nervous because I was just like, I don't want, like, we're such good friends. Like, I don't want this to like screw that up because like our foster, our social worker was very like, yeah, like it is can get really ugly between foster parents and adopted parents just because of the emotions of yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified.
Yeah, and then you asked that question and then Eric laughed.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Like, oh yeah, he called it. Yeah, like this is what we think is happening.
Yeah, and then it was like, oh great.
Yeah.
Everyone's good. Not that it wasn't hard like for them to leave, but
and none of us knew at that point like what the answer to that question was, because Eric and I were like, oh my gosh, how awesome would that be that we would still get to be a part of their life going forward, but that we knew from within that first 2 months that we had them, we knew like it was so clear to us from God that like your job with these girls is to get them ready for what's next. And so we knew that they weren't ours forever. And I remember even sometimes, especially the oldest one would ask us, how long am I going to live at your house? And I would say, you're going to live here for as long as you need to live here. And that question would kind of break my heart because I was just like, I wanted to say forever. You're going to live here forever. Yeah. But I knew I knew for sure that wasn't the answer. And yet like they were going to live at our house for as long as that needed to be. And I had no idea how long that was, because sometimes it seemed like maybe they are going to live here forever because nothing is happening. And so I remember then after that conversation we had with you and Dalton, then I was like, well, I guess like we'll talk to our social worker and see like, what does that look like? Or is that even possible? Like, can they be adopted by someone that knows them? And so, we asked our social worker, you guys were asking the ask worker, the adoption worker. And so I remember our social worker being like, that never happens.
No.
Like this has never happened. And so she was
I don't think anyone even knew. Like, I don't even
know.
Can we do that?
I don't know. It was like this unprecedented thing. And then all of the things just lined up. And I remember, so a new worker came into the equation once the parental rights were terminated. Yeah. And it began being adoption as the end goal. Yep. And so then we started having that worker a part of our like monthly meetings with our path workers. So, and I remember her saying, this never happens. Yeah. And then she's like, well, I'm going to submit this paperwork as an identified adoption placement. And she's like, the only time we ever use this is when it's the foster parents as the identified adoptive placement. Yeah. She's like, I've never done this where it's like someone else. And so she's like, we'll see what happens. And so
I feel like we had a meeting together, either with your social worker or with mine or with both.
I think it was with both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we couldn't say anything to any of the kids. And so it was like just this like this huge secret, and it was so exciting, but we were just like, we don't even know what this is. Like, could this really be? And so it was just kind of a weird, like in limbo phase where we're like, is this going to happen? How long will it take for this to happen?
Because I don't know if people knew like is that good or is that bad? Like is that good that they're staying in an environment that they're somewhat comfortable in? Like how is that going to affect them? Like they're going to see these kids at school. They're going to see you guys. Like, is that good?
Go to the same school.
Is that good or bad? Right. Like, it might be good because it might be like easier because not so much is changing, but it might be bad as in like, oh crap, they don't want to be at our house. They want to be at your house.
Right. No one really knew what it would look like.
No.
And especially they were little.
Yeah.
Like how were they going to process all of what was going to change and what would be? So, yeah, I remember the adoption worker just being like, I've never done this. Like we're just going to see what happens. And then I remember it must have been like our social worker, I'm assuming, or maybe it was you. I don't remember, like texting me or calling me and being like, yeah, so it like they approved
Yep.
it like that. And like we're moving forward that's the plan. And I was
Yeah.
just like, what? Like, this is gonna happen. But then it was a long road yet.
It was long because I remember Dalton and I found out on our anniversary in July. We got the phone call from our social worker that says you're officially going to be parents.
Mm-hmm.
But the girls didn't move in until September.
And I think you had the conversation with us over Christmas break. I think it was over Christmas break.
Yeah.
When you guys said, like, do you think like it would even be a good idea for us to pursue adopting the girls?
Yeah.
I think that was like in December over Christmas break in 2017.
Yep.
And they did not leave our house until the next October.
September.
Right?
September was their first visit. Or it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole part was weird. But I remember, so it must have been sometime between July. I don't know why it took from July to September. I have no idea what.
Well, okay, I do remember that. I remember them saying, I think we should let her start school.
Oh.
As normal.
Yeah.
Let school be established as a normal thing.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do this.
Because then they would be going from our house to school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
that
so
makes sense.
and it was already so close to like school starting, and that was gonna be a big thing. Like kindergarten was gonna start.
Yeah.
First grade was gonna start. They'd already done kindergarten. So kindergarten, and then so we were in the summer break between kindergarten and first grade, and they were like, we just don't want to disrupt
so much
happening.
Yeah.
And then I was like, they're in the same grade. They're like, is that going to be weird? Like, well, no, we were just kind of brother and sister, and now I don't know what we are. Like, now you're going to live in, like, we were just like, so much is going to be different.
And they were in separate classes because I think you requested that.
Yep, I did,
because it was like they need their own.
Yes,
things.
She needed like not a security blanket.
Yeah,
like to be able to just be like, I am my own person. I can do this. Yeah, and so I remember that was like a whole discussion between like the therapist, the path worker, the adoption worker. Like they were kind of the ones determining all those things, and they felt like we need to wait because it would have been so close to school starting. They just didn't want to disrupt all of life all at one time.
Yeah, and that must have been when we took photos.
Yeah.
Because I think you wanted to do something or you wanted to make something for or like put it in their book or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so like I came over to take family photos, like one last family. Like they didn't know that.
No. We just do our regular fall pictures.
And then you're like, how about you girls take one to Dawn and Kristen?
Yeah. And they were like, okay.
Yeah.
And then our kids were like, not us. I'm like, no, not you guys. They had like no idea. But yeah, we wanted like that to be their last page in our book that we gave them of their time and their experience at our house. So yeah, that was a whole long process because really from December when we started like, is this an option?
Yeah.
It didn't actually happen until July. And then still we couldn't say anything because then it was like, so we knew in July it was for sure, but then it couldn't actually happen until September was when they started.
So I remember it was September. I think it was September. It was the middle of September. I think it was September 13th or 14th. They set it up where you go to the therapist office. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's normal. But like we're not allowed to tell them.
Yeah. Like I think it was because of the age of them and the uncertainty of the reaction. Yes. Of like we're just going to do it right there where the person that has done all this processing with them already is just right there and she's the safe and yes. So our social worker was there.
Yeah, I remember we came in later than they told us to come later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, no, I don't even know if you were. No, it was all four of us sitting out in the waiting room, and just the girls were back there.
And they were going to tell them.
And they told them without any of us in the room.
Yep.
And then after they told them, they're like, okay, then Kacie and Eric had to go back there first for emotional support because it was very.
We could hear crying from in the waiting room, and all of us were like, should we leave?
Yes.
Do any of us want to deal with what's going to happen from this point forward?
Yes. And then Yeah, we were there. I don't know. It didn't seem like it took that long to kind
Mm-mm.
of, because then you guys were back there for a while, and then they came back and got us, and they're like, okay, I think we're ready to
Mhm.
merge the two together.
Yep. And I think like they, especially the older one, I think like didn't even really hear the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Um it's just like kind of the re-traumatizing of like
Change is happening.
you're moving again, or you're going somewhere different, or you're
Yeah.
and so I think like when she started to like put those pieces together, it's like nothing else mattered. It didn't like
Oh
she
yeah.
didn't hear any more of like where or
Where you're
who
going. Yeah.
and yeah, so once like all that processing could happen, then it went from
Oh
like
gosh, really low to
like
really
scary
high.
crying to like
Yeah.
happy crying. And so it was, I think that
Yeah.
was, I think they were so wise. The whole team was very wise in like, how do we do this and how do we make it
Yes.
successful? Because I didn't have any idea
Oh no.
like how it would go, what we would do.
And they had like a craft ready for them to
Yep.
do, to talk about. They had a space for them to just like play, color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just got to hang out there for a while, let the emotions roll.
Yep.
However, and it was like, it was hard for like me to not be emotional. It's like, I don't want to lose it
Yes.
here in front of these kids that are losing it.
Yes.
But it's like, oh my gosh, I remember we went to Qdoba before that, and we were in the parking lot, and we were a little bit early, so we were just waiting in the car. And Dalton looked at me. He's like, we could turn around and go home right now.
Yeah.
Like this is the last moment. This is the last straw. Like we're like, this is the time marker right here of either like we are going and becoming parents,
Mhm.
or we're out.
Yep.
That was like, he's like, we got about 5 more minutes, and I was like, I think we gotta go.
Uh-huh.
So, and then we went
to the zoo.
We went to the zoo, which was very good to be like
Which was
outside.
also like the recommendation from the whole team
Yes.
of foster workers and adoption workers of like, go do a bonding experience all
Mhm.
together. Go do something fun, non-threatening. So that was
Yeah.
great.
And I wonder if that's normal too, because I'm like, typically foster parents and adopted parents don't know each other.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, we could go hang out because we do that all the time anyway. So
Yeah.
like, but I'm just like, gosh, yeah, this would be weird if I had no idea who you were,
Right.
or had no idea who these kids were.
And our kids already knew you both so well.
Yeah.
You were very familiar. So it was just
Yeah.
like a fun experience to go do together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that whole transition process was kind of wild. So even at that point, so we were in Bismarck at the therapy office. They told the girls. And then I remember sitting there thinking, and now we have to go tell our kids by ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we need a team there
Yes.
to tell our kids, because we couldn't say anything to our own, being so little. And so all the kids were just kind of blindsided on the same day.
On the same day.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there for that. Did that happen with when you, because they didn't come home with us.
Nope. So we all went to the zoo together.
We all went to the zoo, and then we took the girls. We took them because the plan was for them. I think they were coming the next night.
Yep.
Was going to be, I don't know, a weekend or
so
just
I think
first
it was.
night.
I think this was like on a Thursday that we did their thing, and then so basically then it was like, okay, so now you're gonna go back to Eric and Casey's house. You're gonna sleep there. I suppose they had school the next day. I'm sure.
But I think you kept them home.
I think
a couple
we
of
did.
them home.
Yes,
because you were like, and
then we got ready for their first sleepover.
Yeah.
At your house, so they got to decide what they wanted to pack, and they were like, "We're taking our stuff. Like we're moving there." And so I remember like
that too.
when you came to get them, and I was like, we're loading your car. Like there's a lot of their stuff that and we kind of just like let them take the lead on that. Like, okay, you're going to go there for the weekend, then you're going to come back here. So it was like a transitional process.
Yeah. And I don't remember, did that just happen once? So I remember they came for the weekend, and then they were back at your house for the week. And then did we have them a full week, and then they came back to your house for a weekend? Or after that,
I think it was like
was it
a
just
longer.
Done?
I think it was a longer. Was it like maybe 4 nights or 5 nights?
Yeah.
And then they came back.
I don't remember that part. I just remember the first part. But
yeah, there was like 2 back and forths ish.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
To kind of make the transition, which was, I mean, like that was all the recommendation too of the team. But to me, that transition process was really hard with the youngest. I was like, maybe they could just go. Maybe tomorrow. They just like, because it was confusing.
Yeah.
Because like they called us mom and dad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then it's like, okay, now. And so I think, especially for the older one, it was like, well, now what are you? Like, it was like
Yeah.
a very weird transitional process. So yeah, we went home with the two girls, and then we had to tell our
Did you
kids
tell your
right
kids
away.
with the girls?
We did, because we were
Or
just
were
all
the
there.
girls like still jacked up? Like, or did they hit a wall? Like, because I know the emotions were like everywhere.
So on the way home, we must have told the girls that then we needed to go tell Caden. We were all together when we told them, because I remember the older two
Yeah.
crying, all of us. But the younger ones, I think they didn't really like. They were 4, so
Yeah.
they understood, but they didn't totally understand. Like, they don't understand beyond what's happening kind of right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, there were tears and but I think it was like a little more confusing to them, where the older two understood, like, this is going to be different forever now. Like,
Yeah.
this is, and so I remember sitting with all 4 of them. Eric and I both, all of us cried. And I remember we kind of started, it was helpful that we had been in the therapy office that day,
Mhm.
and we had heard some of the things that they told the girls.
Yeah.
Like, and so I said, I remember telling our girls, like, or telling all of our kids that that there's lots of feelings, and that we can feel many things all at the same time,
Yep.
and that we can cry really happy tears for the girls getting to have a home that's forever, because that's what every kid needs.
Mhm.
And that we can also, at the very same time, cry sad tears because
Yeah.
of what's not going to be anymore. And so I remember so much of that happening. And then yeah, we did keep, I think, all the kids home the next day, because I was just like, how do you then turn their world upside down and then be like, okay, go learn today? And then to have to explain, I also was worried about, like, in their first grade minds with their first grade peers, like, how is this going to be? And so I think we had decided we wanted a chance to tell the teachers
Yeah.
what was okay. Like, this is what all just happened in these last
24
and
hours.
I remember them being like, this is amazing. Like, it was just like all this
Yeah.
exciting, amazing thing. But then also they were able to hold
It's-
it with like care and tenderness and nurturing.
Yeah.
To
Like,
be
you might
like,
see some things and hear
how-
some things, and here's
yes, and to like have a little insight into what's happening outside of the outside emotions and
Yeah.
behaviors. So I think we did keep them all home, just so that everyone could kind of just have a day to be like, this is what's happening. And I remember throughout that, it was like, because I think it was like a 2-week period
Yeah, I think
of
so.
transition, like a weekend,
Well,
and then
'cause I think
like 4 days.
I have it in the calendar, but I think they're like their first full time was like September 29th,
I think so,
because then they
and
were
this was the middle of
adopted
September.
April 29th, and that was officially like,
Mhm.
is that 6
6
months?
months.
Yeah,
7
Yeah.
months.
should be.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that transitional time was it was a sweet time for our family. But it also in a way was like, when they were going back and forth, it was so confusing
Yeah.
to them, that I sometimes questioned, like, I don't know, is this the best? But it was also nice for them to, because they got to go to your house and
Yeah.
be with your family, and like see what that would be like, and then come back to a place where they could be ugly and messy.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of ugly and messy that
Yeah.
happened in that time, because I think it was so confusing.
Yeah.
And so we processed the ugly and messy at our house, and I was just like, man, this is why this is not the way God designed family
Yeah.
to be changing and to move. And it was very eye-opening to how we're created and wired, and like our desire for security and safety, and what that looks like, and when that's disrupted,
Yeah.
how just unregulated and a mess we are. And so for all 4 of us, it was a very weird transitional time, and for you guys, because it's like, oh, we have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, now we don't again. Oh,
Yeah.
now we do.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to be able to get to like talk with them about how exciting it was going to be at your house, and then to come back and to hear all
Like-
the fun things, and then for them to go again, and for our kids to get to be a part of all of that. And I remember, like, it must have been like the weekend that they went to your house, and so I like we did the bedtime routine, and did baths, did everybody pajamas on, did stories, did whatever, and I was like, whoa, like I have an hour extra. Like, this is weird, because it just took so long with
Yes.
double the amount of kids. And so then I was just like, this is what it's going to be like this is
Yeah.
so weird. So it was maybe kind of good for us to have that break in time of
Do you remember when
different-
they were gone, like officially like out at one point where the kids ever like, are they coming back? like I feel like for a weekend or whatever, but it's like once it's permanent, it's like, gosh, this is weird. We now like our house is quieter and our two kids have to like learn to play together again because they've
Yes.
had built-in buddies that have been the same age for 2 years.
Uh-huh. It was so different. I remember often that like our kids missing the
Yeah.
girls, but then we'd get to say, you'll see them on Wednesday night, you'll see them on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so it was just like we almost always got to see each other 2 times a week
Yeah.
for sure, and
Yeah.
more.
And them at school.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes. And so I do think that there were times that like our kids really miss them, but I really remember more of us being able to like have the conversation with our kids of like, God just worked that out so perfect. And so I think that piece of it too for our kids, I really can't imagine what it would have been like in our house if the girls would have left to somewhere else and we just never would see them again.
And have no idea.
And not know
what's
how they're
next
doing,
and-
not know that would have been really hard because
Yeah.
it was really hard even this way, but it was also like we could just always see that it was perfect.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh my goodness, like they're gonna go be somewhere else, and we're still gonna get to be a part, and we're still gonna have all these great like our stories will still
Yeah.
like interweave. And so
Like even though you're young, you just got to watch God's whole hand in full circle and you got to like be a part of it and live it every day. And you got to see the whole thing. Like a miracle happened right before our
and
eyes.
that it just like it just couldn't have, like we would have never imagined it to be that way.
No.
We didn't want to do foster care.
No.
God kept bringing it, and that by being obedient, we got to be a part of something that was so cool and so amazing. And it was so hard. And just like God assured me at the beginning, like you need to look past the hard because there's so much
Yeah.
good beyond the hard. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, we would cry every one of those tears. We would do every one of those battles again to have the same outcome.
Yeah.
And so I think our kids did really like know that and understand that when the girls left. Like, this is perfect. And I do and then even, Maren later being like, so when do I go to my first home? like I think they got to see something that when I asked God to protect our kids and I questioned if this is a good idea for our kids, God just like overwhelmingly showed me this was good for our kids. I think our kids have an understanding and an emotion in them that they wouldn't have had if they hadn't experienced this. So we've gotten to see, even like with Caden a few different times, like he understands. I think before this point, like our kids just wouldn't have understood that there are kids that grow up different than them.
Yeah.
And they got to see things.
Our kids that have less than them, our kids.
Yes. And so they got to see, Caden can remember the day that the girls came to live with us, and that was a hard day for the girls. And Caden got to see that heartache. Then he got to see the journey of working through all of that, and then the tears that happened when they were going to leave, but how awesome that was. And so I think in him, there is an emotion that has like a level of like care and understanding even for kids in his own class. Like
Yeah.
there were conversations that we were able to have where I remember one day he said like that someone was crying and that some kids were making fun of him for crying, and Caden was like, I went and asked him like, why are you crying? And he could get like we don't know
Like,
everyone's
yeah,
story
your
and we
life
don't
might
know
be
what
harder
they're
than
going
mine.
through, and so I think that I don't know how else that God gives us those desires and emotions without having us go through something hard
Yeah.
or impactful. And so I think that I mean, there were definitely times that things came up that I was like, "Oh, I hope my kids don't really understand that."
Yep. Or don't remember that,
Yeah.
or don't.
Because there were things that that kids shouldn't have to deal with and shouldn't have to understand and shouldn't have to experience. And those things were heartbreaking. But also I do think that there wasn't there wasn't a damage
Yeah.
ever done. Like God used all of that for like an understanding
Yeah.
and compassion.
Because you only had then one other placement.
Hmm.
And how long was that after?
Okay, so the girls,
And then you were like, we did our duty, we're done.
yeah, yeah. So the girls left in the fall of 2018,
Yep.
and then in that October we got called about doing foreign exchange student.
Oh, yes.
And so
Yeah.
Eric and I were like,
Well, that's new.
well, I don't know. I mean, that seems easier than what we just did. So like, I don't know. Sure. Yeah. There's a need for that. Yeah, sure. We'll take a foreign exchange student. And so we did that. So in
Yeah.
January, we had a foreign exchange student come
I
and live
forgot
with
it was that
us.
soon. I thought that there was a longer break. So you guys didn't even really get a break of.
Well, we had like 3 months.
Yeah.
But we knew that another change was coming in that time. And so we had her. That was great. And I think that was even just God too, because that was like a maybe a bit of a distraction for our kids of having just having the girls leave, but it was also like really fulfilling.
Yeah.
And it
Well, it's
was
kind of cool for them because it was like we just had to be the big siblings and like do all the teaching and all the whatever.
Yes.
For 2 years, we had to like be the examples and be like whatever so that these other two kids could learn.
Yes.
And now we get a big sister.
Yeah, and now she's gonna do really cool stuff
And
with
now,
us.
yeah, no.
Yeah, and so that was really fun. And then in that time, I don't think we had any placements in between there. Because when the girls left, we just said like, you know what, we just need a little.
Yeah.
Our kids need to heal a little bit from them leaving and from.
Yeah.
And I said, and I think just for us to now start to do life as our family unit, and also getting to be a part still of the girls is.
And you probably don't even remember what that was like.
No.
What was it like when we had only 4? That was 2 years
Right.
ago. I don't
Yep.
know.
It was
The youngest were in diapers.
Yes. So it was very different to kind of adjust back
Yeah.
to just our unit. And then we did the foreign exchange student, and that was fabulous. And then while she was here, so in March, I think it was in
Because your
March or
foreign
May.
exchange student was here from January to January.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that year she was here, it was in the spring. We got a phone call. We have these 2 kids and they need somewhere tomorrow. And I was like, oh boy. I don't even know if we're ready for that.
Yeah.
And so there was a little more conversation, and then they were like, so I called Eric and I'm like, okay, I don't know. What do you think? And he was like, I don't know. This seems kind of crazy. Like we have a foreign exchange student. That's fun. Can we do this? So I called back, and that was a different kind of a situation. So it was still through PATH, but these kids had just been put into care within the last 24 hours.
Oh gosh.
And there was a discovery that there were just a lot of needs, and they needed a home that was trained for the level of care. And so I called back, and it was for 2 kids, and I said, like, I even like feel terrible like just even saying this to you, but we can only take there's no way, like we don't even have like our other vehicle, like we can't even take that many kids at one time in a vehicle. Like
Yeah.
we'd be a 2-car family for what we had set up, and we were just like, we can't take both of them. And so I said, if you need us to take one, we could be open to one. But I said, I know ultimately, like, you want to keep kids together. And I said, I feel terrible, like, even like,
yeah.
like, well, only one. And so then they called us back and they were like, yep. And I'm coming with them, but the other home that can take the other one can't take them yet. Can you take them both for a day? And so we were like, okay. I mean, sure, a day. We can do anything for a day. And then they also had said that it'll probably only be for 3 weeks. Like this placement will probably be for 3 weeks. So then we were like, okay, 3 weeks, we can do 3 weeks. It's fine. We'll be fine. Yeah, that turned into like 6 months. So, but yeah, so we did just have the younger sister went to a different foster home, and we kept the one boy in our home, and that story was very different
Yeah.
than the story with the girls. That was again a hard journey. We had so much frustration with the foster care system.
Mm-hmm.
That is not
And
unique
a very
to
different
us.
ending.
Very different ending. We struggled and we advocated, and we and many on our team
Yeah.
fought for that little boy, and our voice doesn't have a lot of weight in the system, which really stinks. I remember often telling Eric, like, how come the people that make these rules don't ever live real life with these kids?
Yeah.
Like, it just it was so
Like, come live here for a week.
yes, come see what this is like in our everyday. So for us, that was I mean, we had some of those same frustrations when we had the girls,
Yeah.
but this was on a different level of we just kept seeing. I remember even telling the county social worker, like, these aren't dogs.
Yeah.
Like, these are kids. I feel like you guys have forgotten that you're dealing with a human, and there's more to their story, and like, you guys aren't getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot. We wanted to make a difference. There were glimpses of difference in this kid, and then because of the rules and because of all the things, they just kept making decisions, and we were like, what are you doing to this kid? So that was super frustrating. We advocated, other people through Path advocated, and then yeah, he went home. And I remember our Caden saying, what happens if he's not taken care of? And having to tell Caden, all we can do is pray for him now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, he knew. He could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't the best thing. And so, yeah, that was a very different ending. That was hard on different levels. And it was so frustrating, but there was also fulfillment. There was also even when it was hard and we felt like the rules were always in favor of the parent,
Yeah.
not the kid, that we still were able to do what we could,
Mm-hmm.
make a difference, advocate. And then when he went home, that was hard for our family unit. It was, and actually we were kind of at the point where we were like, I don't know how much longer we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard. But we knew that if we couldn't do it as two married people without addiction, without mental health issues, that we were battling ourselves, if we couldn't do it, how was someone else?
Yeah.
And so we just felt like the setup wasn't great for success.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he left our house, we told our social worker, we need a break. Because I said, I think our kids need a break from hard goodbyes. We knew that then, so he left our house in the fall, and then our exchange student was going to be leaving and going back to Brazil at the end of December. And so I said, I just think our kids need to not have any hard goodbyes for a little while. Like, this has been tough. And so then we did some respite
Yeah.
So if people have foster kids in their home and then they need to go somewhere for a short period of time, we were the licensed home they could. So we had some teenagers in that time come into our home, and then we were like, oh, we don't know what we're doing.
This
So
is beyond us.
that was very different. And then in the next bit of time, we had said we're not ready for a placement. We'll do some respite. We're okay with that. But then to keep up our license, it's a lot
of work.
It is there's so many hours of training and then paperwork. And so we kept it up to do respite care for a little while, and then our kids got older, got really involved in things, and our season of life changed, and we were like, I just don't know that we can meet the need of the kids in the same way we were able to when our kids were little.
Yeah.
And so we kind of felt like God said, this season brings something different for you. And so we have let our license expire. Caden often asks us when we're going to do foster care again, and I'm like, I don't know. I haven't felt God putting that on our radar again right now. Maybe at some point later, or maybe it won't be. Maybe it was just for that.
Do you know
season.
if it's hard to get back again? Like, do you have to do the
you have to do like the whole thing
again?
Which is why we were like, we'll maintain it just enough to do respite, because that's a little less.
Yeah.
Because we were like, what if then we don't want to start over?
Yeah.
And so, but then after we did respite and we did
too. It's been a long time now.
Yes. And when we did respite, like it was okay, but we didn't feel like we were the home for teenagers. We don't know what we're doing. And now we have our own teenager, and I'm like still like, I don't really know how to parent teenagers. So so yeah, that was we felt like our season of foster care was that season of life, and if God brings it back again, I mean, we were crazy enough to do it once. I'm sure we'll be crazy enough to do it again, if that opportunity comes. But maybe I don't know if it will.
Maybe you did the job that you were supposed to do.
Yeah. When Kaden asks me, I often am like, I honestly have no idea. I have no idea if we'll do it again.
Yeah. It's so funny. Just like looking back, the last time I was at your house, which was just like a week ago, I almost like teared up in your driveway. So like, I can't remember. It was me and Jay that just came.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them were coming later.
Mm-hmm.
We park the car. She bolts out, doesn't even hardly have her shoes on. And she was supposed to grab a bunch of stuff from the back. And I open the door and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, nobody's even here yet. And I said, you need to come help me like carry. And she's like, and I'm like, are you in a hurry? And she's like, yes, because she's like, I know time goes fast and I love being here.
Oh,
it's so sweet.
Like
she just like bolted for the door. She's like, because I know how time works. We only have a little bit of time to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, and I love being here. And I said, I love being here too.
Oh, I love it. Well, and now when I look back, it's so weird, because it seems like the girls have just always been yours.
Oh yeah, like I can't even.
It doesn't even seem like real life that they lived in our house.
Is that 7 years? 7 years?
So since 18?
8 years?
7 years? It'll be 8 years this fall.
Yeah.
7 years.
Yeah, I remember when we passed. It was a big moment for me when we passed the 2-year marker. When they were at our place longer than they were at your place.
Yes.
That was like a big marker for me of like, okay, now like that's what it was. I was like, oh my gosh, it took that long to get to year 3. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, they were at your house for a long time. But then at the same time, it's like yeah, they were. I don't really remember. Like, it's like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they were that little. Or the fact that they were like younger than what Beckon is now. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, they were little.
Yeah, it is crazy to me, because I mean, like I said before, when I look back, like, I mean, I can remember certain things, but I really can't remember what the day-to-day was like with them. I mean, I look at pictures now of when they were with us, and I'm just like, that doesn't even really seem like real life.
Yeah.
I don't really totally remember and they just seem like they've always been yours. I do love there is still something different about the bond between our kids.
Oh yeah.
Even, communications and just different things. I'm like, there still just is a little bit of sibling in
Yep.
there. And I love that has
Yeah.
continued.
I love when I was here. Kaden!
Yeah.
Kaden!
Yes, like it's still there. I absolutely love it. And that I think even when I look at just our other experiences in foster care and the experiences that we know about, it is not normal for them to have lasting relationships.
Oh yeah.
And so I just think it's so cool that because I think that's a part of the success is like the girls got lasting relationships even in our extended family unit, in our church, they didn't have to say goodbye to anybody.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, oh, hey, now we live somewhere else. We have new parents, but the rest of their environment and their world stay the same.
And watching those connections like make sense. Like I have a picture from your father-in-law's funeral of all the kids like hugging each other, passing around Jolly Ranchers.
Yep.
And like Dalton and I kind of like were standing in the back and just like letting them do their thing, and he's I think Eric was next to him, and he's like that was their grandpa too for a while. Like,
it was.
And even
still,
even when they saw him, like that was
like he still kept the same bond with them. He was the picture of the girls with all the other grandkids was still the picture on his phone. His background on his phone.
Yep.
Like they were still which is just so cool because I think even in the experience with the other boy that we had, like, oh, you had these relationships for a little while and now they're just gone. And our biggest frustration, I think, at the end was that there was no attempt to even make those relationships end well.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we're just gonna come and get him tomorrow. Like after my kids have already gone to school, like there's no goodbye.
Yeah.
And we had to advocate for that. And I'm like, that's for my own kids, but it's also for this kid because he's been entrusted to us and we have worked to build those relationships. And now you're telling me that there's after more than 6 months that they don't have to say goodbye? That you're just going to come and say, oh, now you're not going to live here anymore. And that's when I really was like, these aren't puppies. These aren't dogs that just get passed to a different spot. Like, this is a human. And then the county worker came to pick him up from our house, and she walked into our house, and I had kept our kids home from school so that there could be a goodbye. And she walked into our house, and our son was hugging the boy that was living with us, and they were both sobbing. And she came in and said, do you guys need a minute? I said, no, come in. Come in.
See it.
Like, this is sometimes I think the desk version and the real life version, like they don't connect sometimes.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for us to be in it and feel like rules that are made and choices that are made for kids that don't have a voice for themselves, don't have their best interests, and don't remember that they're a kid. And I think part of it too was having my own kids that same age. It really made me think like, what if that was my own kid? Just that, like, I would never let someone do that to them, to just not have a goodbye and to not. So we tried to advocate like it's our own kid and the best interest in the care. But that's not the case. And that's not necessarily even the fault of the workers. They are so overwhelmed. Their caseloads are so huge.
Oh, yeah.
Their hearts have to eventually become a little bit guarded and even callous to the hurt. I can't imagine living in that world every day and the things they have to do and the choices they have to make and what they have to see happen to kids. Like I don't know if I could if my heart could handle it day in and day out like they do. So the system is broken. They are so overworked and so probably underpaid and underappreciated for all that they do. And what they put in to kids. It's a tough system.
Well, I'm glad we got to be part of the success story.
Yes.
and how it just worked out so perfectly. To end on a light note, one of my favorite things, and it's just always going to be true. It wasn't that much long after we adopted that we were over at your house for a life group, and our youngest was going through the house yelling for mom, 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 and looks over at you. Well, you're my old mom.
I found my old mom.
But she was looking for me, and I don't know if I just could hear it from the other room or wherever I was sitting, and I was just like, oh, that's just funny.
It was
like I couldn't even have written this story or even dreamed up like this would be reality. Like this is just yeah. So you'll always be their old mom.
Yeah,
You're my old mom.
They're my old mom. Yeah, and I love that. I love that they still get to have all the positive things. And I think too, when I look back at their story, I really think that their growth and their development wouldn't be the same if they would have stayed. I really think
Mhm.
God knew exactly what he was doing when he gave us that emotion in our heart, that we were just the
Mhm.
preparation for what was next. Because I think that in their case, I think it had to be two separate things.
Yep.
I don't think if the girls
Oh,
would have
yeah.
remained with us, that things would have been the same for them as what they are now. Like, I
Mhm.
really think that, because we weren't opposed to adoption when we started looking at
Mhm.
what was possibly upcoming, but it was so clear to us that they were not forever ours, that we had a specific role with them. And I think in their case, and I'm sure it's different in every adoption story and what would be best, but I really am just like, oh God, you just knew exactly. You
Oh,
knew
yeah. I
exactly
tell
what they
Dalton all the
needed.
time. I said, well, Kacie and Eric were just the angels that had all the bullets and had all the
It
that
was
went to
a
war
journey.
for us to be able to have our family,
Mhm.
because I'm like, there's no way we were not meant to do the beginning. Like
Yeah.
that's not what we were supposed to do either. So it's
Uh-huh.
like we each had our part, and that's
Yeah, and it was like the way God aligned it all, and he knew the end before the beginning.
Mhm.
And we were just on the journey. I was questioning his plans and what he was doing. But yeah, like it could not. I remember even the adoption worker when she was just like, this never happens. Like they approved this, and like this is just what we're doing. She's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but like this doesn't happen.
Mhm.
And sometimes even like to being able to have the foster parents approved as the adoptive parents,
Oh, yeah.
especially from kids that are Native American.
Mhm.
If the foster parents aren't Native American, sometimes it doesn't get approved by because ultimately, like PATH is a statewide organization, but they still
Yeah.
have to go back to the county level
Yeah.
to get all this stuff done. And so if that is like tribal council or whatever that level of local authority is, they have to give the okay. And the adoption worker was just like, this never happens.
Well,
Like,
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, you even think about all that stuff that behind the scenes that we didn't even see.
mm-hmm.
Like all of the stuff that they were doing, all of the like we never went to the court cases. We didn't go to any of
Nope.
those meetings. We didn't like all of the hoops that God was aligning for us to just be able to walk through.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like that, yeah, that we had no control or no power over whatsoever.
No.
And it just worked.
And often we're so frustrating to
Mhm.
me and to our worker, even to be like, again, it's just continued again. It's just extended. Like, oh, so now we just keep doing life for 3 more
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
until maybe then they'll
When
make a decision.
God was like, their family's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like,
There's paperwork.
you gotta hold your horses a little bit. They're not ready. Like I'm working on it, but they're not ready.
Yes.
Like, so quit rushing me, Kacie. I'm working
Yep.
on it. I'm working on it.
It
You can
was
go back and just look and
so-
be like, yeah, silly me. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I often, like, God, thanks for not listening.
Yes.
Thanks
That was one of those situations
for
where it
making
was
this.
like, yeah, thank you for whatever I had suggested. Thank you for not going
Yeah.
with that. Like,
Thanks for not changing your plan
Yes.
according to my request, because
Yes.
I didn't know what I was asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And even so much in that time, I just remember even praying for the girls. I remember saying like, God, I don't even know what to pray for them.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the best thing is for them next. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know. And so I just remember often having to tell God, like, have your way with them.
Yep.
Like, help me to trust your way. Because I really I had no idea. And I would have never prayed a big enough prayer to be like, oh, God, just have Dalton and Kristen adopt
Yep.
them. Never would I have thought.
No. Well, thanks for sitting down and chatting with me. It was
This
good to
was fun.
reminisce. We haven't reminisced about these things for a long time.
Yes. It's fun to go back. It's been a long time ago.
Yeah. So if
And it
anybody
was
has
fun.
questions about foster care, you now have your expert.
Oh yes, very expert.
We could probably get you some connections.
Yeah.
If you need a path, we can at
Mhm.
least get you a phone number or an email.
Yes,
That I can do.
And honestly, it is a journey. I mean, we would have
Mhm.
never picked it, but now I'm like, what would we have missed
Oh gosh.
if we wouldn't have done it? So yeah, if you're
That's
feeling the
crazy
nudge,
to me. I could just get chills thinking about that. I'm like I used to tell Dalton, I used to talk about that. I'm like, the only reason why this is real life right now is because Kacie and Eric said okay.
Mhm.
Like that's the only reason this whole, and I mean, like if you guys wouldn't have, maybe some other way it would have,
Yeah,
maybe if
God
it would have
would've-
happened. But I'm like,
he doesn't have to use us. He chooses
yes, and
to
I'm just like,
use us. Yeah.
yeah, this is all
Uh-huh.
real life right now, or I get to be a part of this right now, or like I think
Mhm.
about that a lot, like you said, like on birthdays and like things like that. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that's the only reason that this is real life is because you guys said okay.
Yeah, and God kept. I mean, we said no a lot,
Yeah.
and He kept giving us the chance to say yes, and then we did, and we still didn't know. We weren't ready. We didn't know what we were doing. We were not trained. I mean, we had to do licensing, but still, it's like we got these girls, and I was just like, God, are you sure that we're supposed to parent them? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. There were so many things that came up that I was just not prepared for, and God handled it. He
Yep.
gave us
I'll give you exactly
a
what you
fabulous
need right when
team.
you need it,
Yes.
and nothing more, nothing less. Like,
Yep. Which I think too is like why if we felt like we had it covered, we wouldn't be dependent on him.
oh yeah,
We had to depend daily on survival from him. Like we did not know what we were doing.
no.
So yeah, I love it. It's a cool
And now
journey.
we're
It's
both
a
still
cool
on the
story.
journey.
We're on the journey.
It's great.
It is good.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for listening. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.